deep shadow. Anna had always loved her solitary walks in the forest outside the city. It was her own way to escape the chaos of everyday life, the endless reports at work, the quarrelsome neighbors, the unbearable memories of her lost love. Each step along the path reminded her that she was alive, that her heart was still beating despite everything. That autumn evening, the air was thick with the scent of decaying leaves and damp earth. The sun was already sinking towards the horizon, painting the treetops in copper-red hues. The forest, which the locals called Whispering, was old, so old that even the long-timers couldn't remember when the first people disappeared there. Legends varied about hunters who never returned, about black figures among the trunks, about pits that appeared out of nowhere. Anna knew these rumors, but she never believed them. She chose a new path, narrow and almost imperceptible, leading deeper into the woods. She left her phone at home. She wanted a complete disconnection. Her steps were quiet, but the forest responded with barely audible sounds. The rustling of leaves, the crackling of branches, a muffled echo. She walked, inhaling the coolness, and hardly noticed the path narrowing. Suddenly, something cracked under her feet. The leaves that concealed the ground crumbled downwards, and the earth betrayed her. Anna only had time to glance at the black abyss below before her body plummeted. Her scream was lost in the hollow space, and the fall seemed endless. The impact on the bottom knocked the breath out of her. A sharp pain shot through her left leg. When Anna raised her head, a thin slit of gray sky was visible above, too far to seem reachable. The walls were slippery, covered with moss, and the ground was waterlogged in places. First, there was panic. She screamed until her voice broke. She listened for footsteps, for voices. Nothing. Only echoes and the quiet dripping of water somewhere in the depths. She felt the walls, trying to find a hold, but her fingers slipped. Her nails broke, blood appearing on her fingertips. Several branches that had fallen with her offered hope, but they snapped as soon as she put weight on them. Her heart beat so fast that she could feel its throbbing in her temples. "I won't die here," she whispered, gritting her teeth. "I'll get out. I have to." She tried to stay awake, but exhaustion drove her mad. As her eyelids began to stick together, it seemed to her that the walls were slowly moving, narrowing the space, that the darkness was becoming alive, that a shadow had appeared in the narrow opening above, motionless but watchful. Towards morning, she found a root sticking out of the wall and began to climb. Each movement came at the cost of pain, but she crawled, clinging with scratched hands. When she finally pulled herself over the edge, the forest seemed unnaturally silent. She stood up, and the ground beneath her feet trembled again. The soil crumbled, revealing an even deeper black maw. This time, the fall was longer, and the bottom harder, with sharp stones that cut into her body. Consciousness faded. When she opened her eyes, Things were different around her. It was no longer a narrow pit, but a spacious cave. The ceiling was lost in darkness, but somewhere above, a faint pale green glow shone, like moss that glowed on its own. The air was heavy and cold. She lay on damp stones, feeling a sticky moisture on her skin. Nearby, something glinted, a piece of metal. Anna reached out and picked it up. It was an old, rusty lantern with a faded engraving, 1874, and someone's initials. A bone lay next to it, human. Somewhere in the darkness, a branch snapped. But there couldn't be branches here, only stone, so it was something else. She froze. The barely audible sound of footsteps began to approach. Not quickly, but slowly, steadily. "Is anyone there?" Her voice cracked, the echo spreading through the cave. The footsteps stopped. Then, in the darkness, two small glimmers appeared, like eyes catching the light. They were too low to belong to a human, but too evenly spaced to be an animal. She felt for a stone and squeezed it in her hand. The eyes disappeared. Suddenly, something cold and wet touched her ankle. She yanked her leg away, but the sensation remained, as if someone's hand was still reaching for her. She lunged blindly forward into the darkness and saw a narrow passage. She squeezed through it, the stones scraping her shoulders. Her breath hitched, but she didn't stop. When she finally saw a faint light ahead, her heart pounded with hope. She emerged into a small chamber with a lake that glowed with a phosphorescent light. In the center stood a wooden table.